Alright, got this thing offloaded onto my little wonky stand. Yeah, it leans to the right a little bit. That's okay, I'll support it. But at least it's off the engine stand now and marginally easier to shove around. But I'm debating on hitting that with paint still. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I probably will. But, yeah. That's it for tonight. Got my wife's car fixed. That was nice. I'm going to put back on the injection pump now. But that's it for the evening. But, yeah, we'll talk soon. Alright, the plan for this evening is to get this little section painted here, install the flywheel adapter and the flywheel, get the barring tool in there, turn everything over, get the valves adjusted, add oil, the starter, and that's it. And tomorrow I will get a temp fuel supply and see if I can get this sucker rolling. So there we go, that's the plan. And you thought that I had forgotten 2 bolts. You are correct. I did forget 2 bolts, but I didn't install the flywheel yet, so... Ha! Suckers. I'm not an idiot. I'll tell you what I am an idiot for, though. Couldn't find the Loctite for a second, but I got it now. Come on, Loctite. Helps if you unlock the Loctite. Get those torqued up to hand tight because it's probably tight enough, particularly with the Loctite. Click. And click. There we are. Alright, so you're going to see fast motion next where I install the flywheel. Sucker's heavy, you don't need to hear me grunting and groaning and all that horrible stuff. I'll revisit after I get this put together and I'll show you guys the barring tool and how that works. It's pretty nifty. Alright. Alright, so now I'm installing the starter. It's got this nifty adapter. Pretty obvious which way it goes. Just goes in like that. And then my bolts hook the starter up like that. You guys really didn't even need to see this, honestly. Not particularly exciting. And this one I'm not going to lock tight. I haven't had one of these rattle loose before, so I'm not terribly concerned about it. Oh, and what size do you think that is? It's a 17, and of course I don't have. I do have a 17. That's a 3/4. There's a 17. Okay. You're going into aluminum. This housing's aluminum. You don't want to go too crazy on it. Come on. Go faster. There we go. There we go. One more check down here. Good. One little pop up here. And even though it's on a rickety thing, it didn't fall over, so that's good. Probably cursing myself there. So now I'm going to flip this thing around. I'm going to put the barring tool in and get the engine to top dead center and adjust those valves to the cold spec, which I believe is 10 intake and 20 exhaust. And that's thousandths, by the way. Well, see you in the next step. Okay, so I will show you guys the barring tool. Here I am working on a low light situation again. But this is what's called a barring tool. Takes a 1/2-inch drive, and you can see that this will mesh with the teeth on the inside here. I'll show you how that works. I'm going to show you from this side. But as you can see, this will fit in here. And so there's an actual port back here that you take off when this thing's inside the engine, or inside an engine bay or whatever. So I'm going to knock that out and put the barring tool on it. And then we're going to go and start adjusting the valves. And I'll show you how to do that. It's pretty simple. I am by no means God's gift to this, but I'm reasonably bright. And you can see how it works. See how the flywheel's turning? Perfect. So, we gotta figure out how to see how these push rods are coming off. So we've got exhaust, intake, exhaust, intake, exhaust, intake, exhaust, intake. And in the manual somewhere they have the way to set it. I honestly don't know where top dead center is on this thing, so I'm going to do it the old school way, which is just watch the push rods, and if they're on not moving at all for a good bit, I'm going to assume that it's on the base circle. And the base circle is the base circle of the camshaft, which basically means that the cam profile, the pointy part, it's on the opposite side of it, because the point is what pushes the push rods up and down, lets them up and lets them down. So you can just look up a camshaft, look up base circle, and you'll understand what I mean. This isn't rocket science, it just takes a little bit of time. Alright, so I got them kind of snugged up. We'll see what happens here. I'm basically just trying to see if these move at all. It's a 14 on this nut. I grabbed some, these are off of a completely different motor, but I'm staring at the back here, looking and seeing. There we go. So intake is going up. I can hear the compression. There we go. Intake is coming back down. I can see it from the back. You probably can't see it. So intake going down basically means that the combustion chamber, when it's going down over here, it's lifting up on here. So now it's loaded up with air and fuel. Yep. What is going on? Let's put it this way. This barring tool doesn't make quick work, but it makes the work easy, if that makes sense. There we go. Exhaust is now opening. And once exhaust closes, it's going to be pretty much right at the top. Exhaust is fully open. And now exhaust is closing. And I can see from the back here, the push rods. There we go. Intake is now opening again. So I'm going to go back the other way. And now the push rods are not moving at all. We're right in between. I'm looking at it go back up. Now I'm going back down. And there we go. We're pretty much on the base circle now. Oh, exhaust. There we go. So now we're at the position where we can get this valve adjusted. These sets of valves adjusted. Intake's 10 thou over here. That's nice and loose. This one's got some tension on it. So I'm going to back it off. You can see how that mechanism adjusts. So everything I said earlier was wrong. You actually want to set these when they're completely on the base circle. So what I showed you guys before, yeah, there we go. What I showed you before was, oh, just after the exhaust valve closes, that's the time to do it. The problem is that these two, there's still a little curve in the cam profile. So what you want to do is you want to get it to the point where none of these push rods, none of these lifters are moving at all. And when you get to that point, then you're good to go to do the adjustment. What I told you before was definitely not right, and this may be smarter. So here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop here. I'm going to make a new video to show you how to do it properly. Alright, so I've already experimented on number 4, number 3, and number 2 is where I'm going to film and show exactly how this works. So the way a camshaft works, right, is it's got a lobe. It's kind of a teardrop shape. And the idea is you want the camshaft on both the intake and the exhaust to be on the roundest, circleless, based circle, is what they call it, portion of the camshaft. And the way intake and exhaust valves work is that the intake is opening, so it opens, air and fuel go in, then it comes up, it compresses inside the cylinder as that piston comes up. It's going to come up like that, and then it's going to shoot back down, and as it's shooting back down, the exhaust is going to open and allow the exhaust to go out. Now, if you try to catch in between these two, there's still like some descending and ascending parts of the circle that aren't right. So you want to make sure that you're in the portion of the cycle, the rotation of the engine, that these two are not moving at all. And there is a large area. You just got to spin the crankshaft over to that point so that you can do it. And then, so that's how you get the thing set into the area. I've already got cylinder number 2 at that point in the cycle. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to slip this feeler gauge in here. And with any luck, you'll be able to hear, and this is 10 thou on that one, by the way. Can you see it? Yep. And 20 on the exhaust. So 10 thou here. I'm going to go ahead and just get this slipped in. Until I feel a little drag. And you hear that? That's too tight. That's got a little drag on it. That's where you want to be. You can't even see it. I'll show you better on the exhaust valve. So the trick is that as you're tightening this down, you're going to have to turn the screwdriver to the left just a little bit. And again, I'll show you on the exhaust valve. It'll be easier to see. So just bear with me. Click. I'm sure there's a torque setting. And you just want to, oh yeah, we're good. No problem there. So, same idea for the exhaust here. That's just way too easy to flop around. So I'm going to that feels like a good amount of drag right there. You feel it. When you do this, you really can feel it. They tell you that, oh, you know, it's very special. You've got to be perfect. It really is a feel. So as I'm tightening to the right, I'm kind of turning to the left on the screwdriver at the same time to keep it going, to keep it at the same position. There we go. Check it. A little bit of drag. I'm happy. So now I'm going to go ahead and work on cylinder number 1, and that's where I'm going to end the video for tonight, and I'll come back at this tomorrow. Thanks, guys.